A lot of the leaks regarding the 2020 Assassin's Creed game involve the Vikings, and a tiny bit involve the Romans. Now, I wish we would get a Roman game. Probably not, and honestly this video is entirely conjecture because today I'm going to find a way to make sure both happen at the same time. Now before we get started, you're probably thinking, how is this gonna happen? That doesn't make any sense. And you're correct, it doesn't make any sense, but I'm a crazy person. So before we start the video, be sure to like it if you enjoy it, subscribe for more content like this, and share the channel by yelling,
"The auditori are not dead!"
Now, on to my ramblings of an insane person. So, there is an important period of time, an important area of time that I think Assassin's Creed could set a game. Not that there's any evidence to support what I'm about to say or what I'm about to claim, but it is something interesting that I think some people might like to see, and I think it could be important to the game, and I think it would make a lot of fans happy. And that is the Roman Britain period in ancient Rome. Now, you might be like, what does this have to do with the Vikings? That doesn't make any sense. Well, if you know anything about Viking history, they do invade England at one point with the Great Heathen Army, and odds are if we get a Viking game, at least some of it will touch on England. At least some of it. And when I mean they ruled England, I mean they ruled England. Google the Great Heathen Army if you don't know what it is. Now, on to this idea that I have. So there's a couple of very important characters that we could see historically. Let's start with Boudicca. Boudicca is a queen of the Iceni tribe who are an independent ally of the Romans. Her husband is the king, he's kind of the main dude around there, and they have two daughters who history does not document their names. When her husband dies, the king, he leaves the kingdom to his daughters and some bits and pieces of it to Rome. But when this happens, the Romans completely ignore his will. They come in, they call in all the debts that the Iceni owe them. They cut any imperial funding to the tribe. And basically they come and take over and say, this is ours now, sorry. And they pillage the village, they rape and flog Boudicca and her daughters. I'm pretty sure at least one of them died in this scenario. It was a pretty awful situation, and Boudicca goes into full rage mode at this very moment. And if you don't know who Boudicca is, I suggest looking her up as well. Boudicca is kind of a badass. So she goes in full rage mode. She gathers her army together, and she actually gets a pretty large army. At least according to Roman accounts, it's a large army. She goes around. First city she goes to is Colchester. She burns it to the ground. On to the next city, she goes to Londinium, which is modern day London, burns that city to the ground. And the Roman governor that's there is like, man, I can't handle this chick. She's crazy. She's burning cities to the ground. And so the Emperor Claudius himself shows up with reinforcements, and that's how they finally put her down. She ends up having to retreat, and in total defeat, she ends up poisoning herself because she would not let the Romans have her. Because odds are, whatever the Romans did to her was going to be way worse than the poison. She was not going to, well, she was going to live, and it was going to be brutal, but not for very long. And that is the story of Boudicca. Now, this takes place around 60 to 61 AD, so this is a kind of important time in Assassin's Creed. See, around 100 years earlier, Bayek and Aya had formed the Assassin Brotherhood in Egypt, Aya having the Roman Brotherhood and Bayek having the Egyptian Brotherhood. Now, in this time, I would like to see a descendant of Bayek or Aya having gone to Roman Britain to maybe try to help Boudicca out here, because I just feel like there's such a huge story of how the assassins should have dealt with Rome after the events of Assassin's Creed Origins. There's a big story here, and there's so much happening around the Roman world that I find it so hard to believe that Ubisoft would just pass up this opportunity as a whole. I cannot fathom that they would pass this period of time up. It's the origins of the Brotherhood, the origins of the fighting between the Assassins and the Templars, and you're just gonna pass up what happened early in that fighting. We're gonna see the origin story and then just skip the rest until 1000 AD, or whenever the Vikings game is set, probably anywhere from 800 to 1000 AD. We're just going to skip that whole period? I just cannot fathom that. That's just not good story. Anyway, I'm going on a rant. This would be a great filler game, something that gives you that kind of northern European gritty, mud and grit type of feel to it. You get a lot of really important historical events in Roman Britain, important things. I mean, the Roman Emperor was there for a minute. That's kind of a big deal if the Roman Emperor has to show up there. So, and this also plays a part in how the Roman Empire had to be brought down. Now, this didn't necessarily be an event that brought down the Roman Empire. In fact, the Romans end up winning in the end, but you have to see how the assassins would view this as, we need to take down this big empire. We cannot just sit back and let them rule the world. The Romans have to be the new British of the Assassin's Creed franchise. If you don't remember from like AC3 to Rogue, even Syndicate, you could say the British are the big bad guys. They're in every game working for the Templars, essentially. The Romans need to be that new British. They need to be the bad guys. They're the ones expanding, trying to take over the world. They're the Romans. They took a republic, turned it into an empire. Julius Caesar is literally called the father of understanding and origins. That's kind of a huge deal, and we're just skipping it. Anyway, that was my idea for a Roman Britain game that could kind of combine some of the elements you would see from a Viking game and combine it with the Romans. And that way, we have a crucial period in time with a story being told, and we still get that kind of dark, gritty, northern European feel to it. And I just really cannot wait to see what Ubisoft has for us in 2020. Again, none of this stuff is confirmed, none of it's even mentioned or leaked, but it would be something cool to see. Anyways, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like it. If you want more content like this, subscribe. I will see you in the next video.